Hey everyone, this is your weekly episode of the Zephyr podcast where we talk about all things Zephyr, open source, embedded, lots of other cool stuff. I'm Benjamin, your co-host.
Hey, I'm Fabio, your other co-host.
So Fabio, I have a surprise for you.
Oh my God.
As in a real surprise, like you don't even know what I'm going to say. No, the surprise is, remember how a few weeks back we spoke about that meetup, Zephyr meetup in Switzerland? I think it happened end of last month or something. A month ago. It was on February the 12th. And by the time the podcast will go live, the recording, so will the recordings of that meetup. And I think it's a surprise in that you will be excited to check out those talks. So will I. I need to catch up. But this was the program was really, really good. I don't think we actually went through the program when we plugged the meetup last time on the podcast, but Rust with Zephyr, professional audio over IP using Zephyr, replacing CAN with single pair Ethernet and TSN, security stuff with TFM, etc. And last but not least, using Zephyr and CAN bus for racing cars, like Formula Student cars. It's the best program ever. So watch out for all the recordings will be on YouTube. Should be on YouTube by the time you're listening to this. So check it out.
Good stuff. Are they going to be in German or English?
No, they are in English. And the slides are there. Quality of the recording is actually quite good. So I think this should be a hit. Some of those talks are really mind blowing. At least just looking at the title, you're like, oh wow, I had no idea.
I mean, you should keep an eye for that meetup. Weren't there 120 people going or something? It's a conference at this point. You're still calling it a meetup.
Exactly. So that was my surprise.
Good. Looking forward to that. Okay, more news.
Yeah, let's as always, maybe let's catch up with some of the things we caught and saw on social media and whatnot. There is a new dev kit out there for the ZSWatch, this open source, open hardware watch. That's been, I think the project started a couple of years ago already, but now the folks behind it, they made a dev kit for it available on Elecrow. It's $100. Looks quite cool. It has cellular connectivity, or at least is that a GPS on it?
Round display, battery, buzzer, a bunch of connector button. I think it's cool that a project that started as someone's pet project is to the point that they now sell a dev kit for it on Elecrow, which I've heard it before. I need to look at what it is, because they sell proper electronics, right? This is one of those maker kind of shop where we buy random stuff. So very cool. It's out of stock.
Yeah, well, actually, by the way, that's we didn't put that in our notes, but that's a good way for me to plug an upcoming Zephyr Tech Talk in about 3 weeks' time with Christian Hirsch, who also did some kind of dev kit and a board based on a Nordic chip. And the SparkFun MicroMod ecosystem. So it's we will be putting the link as well in the notes. But that's it's really nice to see all those projects emerging.
Yeah, that's brilliant. The MicroMod has been out for a while. I don't think it quite caught up, but for some reason I'm seeing it more and more in my LinkedIn feed. So maybe it's becoming.
And I think like you just said, I had the same impression that maybe it didn't really take off, but I think Christian may have different opinions, and I think he when he tried it, a few things made convinced him. So looking forward to hear more during the tech talk what that is and what makes this connector interesting, I guess. So
excellent. I have a good question for that tech talk for him. All the most complex question. Excellent.
Cool.
Right.
Industry consolidation, this time it's not a silicon vendor being acquired, it's our good friends at Golioth. We've been doing a lot with Zephyr over the past many years now. So yeah, Golioth, small-ish startup as of a few weeks ago. Now they are part of Canonical. They got acquired. So looking forward to see what's going to be next for them and for Canonical in that area, because they certainly, they got some real good talents now part of the team for sure. So
who is Canonical?
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. It's not necessarily a name that people are necessarily familiar with. The company behind Ubuntu, the major, most popular, I guess, like desktop Linux distro, and more. Like, of course, it's also Ubuntu they have server distros and so on. But what else? Do they like they did phones at some point and stuff like that too?
Yeah, so they tried a lot of things. When this happened, they looked at the Canonical page, and on Wikipedia or something, they have a number of projects under their umbrella. So yeah, interesting to see what you're gonna do with that, because from what I could see, there wasn't much into embedded. So it looks like they're stepping into IoT, which is maybe not the most trendy thing these days. So it's good. I don't know. I think it's good to see them picking this stuff up, see what they're gonna do with it. If anything, giving Golioth a good financial backing from a solid company. I know that for Ubuntu, they engage a lot with vendor to make sure that the distribution works on, for example, laptops or pre-built computers. So it's pretty good. I'm optimistic about it.
Yeah, no, that's great news. Okay, this one is all yours. STM32C5. What is that?
This ended up in my news feed. So new part. The guys at ST are so busy. They keep shipping new stuff. So they a few months ago they announced the C0 series, very cheap Cortex M0 Plus, I think. They were marketing it as a like your next 8-bit microcontroller is a 32-bit, and I've been using it quite a lot in my own projects. It's a lovely CPU. So it looks like they came out with a new family, which is the C5. It's an M33 144 megahertz, and it is packed with features. So USB, Ethernet, low power timer, low power reward, FDCAN, and they have small packages, which is something I really like because they're easy to hand solder. So they're very hobbyist PCB friendly. I'm looking forward to getting some of them. I checked some of those variants are already on Mouser. You can buy them right now. I haven't seen the support for Zephyr, but it's probably not a big deal because all ST parts used to be variation of the same drivers. So yeah, looking forward to that. One more choice in the already big enough choice of ST parts, but most of them are fairly expensive. Like I've done a project with Ethernet on STM32 recently, and I had to pick a big one, an H5, because that was the smallest I could find. I would have used one of these if it was available. So yeah, great job from the folks on ST.
Yeah, I haven't looked whether we have pull requests lined up already for adding support for this, but I'm sure this will be coming at some point. C0, we certainly have a few boards supported. So yeah, cool stuff. Quick shout out to, I know many of you guys and you folks listening, you are interested in Zephyr one way or the other. We will be putting a link to a bunch of, is it a bunch or just one? But Qualcomm is hiring and looking for software engineers and embedded software engineers for working on Zephyr, based out of San Diego in the US or Cork, Ireland. Check out the links. Yeah, Fabio, you're in Ireland.
Yeah. This is on. Yeah, I'm on the other side. I'm in Dublin. But yeah, they posted a message on Discord. We have a job offer posting, and also one of them reached out to me directly. Told them I'm not interested, but yeah, I'll give you a shout.
So yeah, like for those of you listening, this is if you're on that end of the and sort of like interested in job offers. But if you are also looking for Zephyr talent, like Fabio just said, drop a message on Discord if you have existing Chabo, first you want to share the link too. That's one of the things you can use Discord for, so don't hesitate. Before we move on to our main segment, I guess, for today, a couple other interesting news, I guess, from the Zephyr community this week. I don't remember whether there's anything worth sharing from the architecture working group, but there was a really good discussion in the process working group this week. Zephyr, like many other open source projects, we are at this stage where AI agents and LLMs, etc., many people start to use them to do their work, and sometimes this can generate like uncertainties with regards to how should we treat pull requests that are assisted by AI agents, etc. So we discussed this week in the process working group, and we came up with very simple, I think, guidelines with regards to how we as a project want to approach it. So check it out. Actually, by the time you listen to the episode, this might actually be part of the official documentation. I think it's going to be merged anytime now. But we took some inspiration from what the Linux kernel community does, which is, like, again, really straightforward. It's like when you do a pull request and you get some help from Copilot or Claude or whatever, we very much encourage people to indicate that information as part of the commit message, so that we have sort of like full disclosure.
We're asking contributor to claim the LLM tool in a well-known tag in the same way as you do a sign-off by. And I mean, it's for tracking, it's for statistical purposes more than anything else, right? I mean, also for disclosure to the code reviewer, but it's also
that aspect of the guidelines is really that. And then we are also sort of like, in a sense, stating the obvious, but things like, folks, if you end up using some kind of LLM AI agent to help you with authoring your code contribution, you're still in charge and you're still responsible with regards to, like, this is still you as a human being / a legal entity, also to some extent. Like you need to the contribution is going to be yours with regards to the developer certificate of origin and like the copyright, etc. This doesn't change anything. It's just like in the old days, if you end up making a contribution to an open source project and you happen to copy paste a lot of code from your proprietary code base, I mean, it's on you, and you still, you're responsible for handing over the code to the project.
So it's good information to have for multiple purposes, right? And the way that the tag is meant to be used also as the version of the model that you're using. It hasn't been used much in Linux either. Like I checked the current commit and I've only found
it's really new.
two uses. Yeah, but it's nice. Like if you said like, hey, this is Claude and this is the model I've used, I'm thinking having this information for all the pull requests, like 2 years from now, you could do some interesting stats. Now it has to be added manually, so I hope that it's going to pick up and we're going to get in the habit of using it. But we'll see.
Yeah. But I mean, we discussed this earlier this week, and looks like we reached consensus really quickly. So I think it kind of tells something with, from what I've seen, the position of the project with regards to AI agent is like mostly like positive, and people seem to see the value. And we just put some basic guidelines in place so that people keep using it the right way, basically.
Yeah, that pull request is one of the mostly approved one that I've ever seen. I think there's like 12 approvals or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but it was, it went really, really smoothly. So I'm super pleased. Would love to, as always, to hear in the comments on YouTube or on Discord. Would love to hear stories from people using LLMs and so on, how you've been using it with Zephyr, because it's a thing for sure.
Did you use an LLM for that change?
I did, actually, because it turns out well, like I mentioned, some of it is inspired and is just rehashing what the Linux folks had already done. So like, yeah, the wordsmithing around that probably got some help from, I don't remember which agent, but I actually put it in the, like, this is effectively going to be the first commit in the Zephyr tree that uses this new tag.
Someone has to update it. Did you put it in the commit message?
Yeah, I think it's, I used anti-gravity with
you did?
Focus.
Yeah,
I did.
Very cool.
Sir.
I didn't. I wanted to make fun of you because I thought you didn't, but turned out you did. All right, good job.
Yep. Yeah, we're actually going to talk a bit more about AI agent in the context of the recent Zephyr developer, not developer, the Zephyr 10-year anniversary survey. We had some questions around that, and yeah, like I said, this is going to be our main segment. Yeah, what else before we move on to that topic? There is an interesting
library.
An interesting library. So someone sent, I think we're getting one at least every week, new external module, like one of those open source projects out there on GitHub that happen to be shipping with the right metadata so that they are super easy to pull into your West workspace. So this one tool is called CLUTGen, or CLUTGen, as in it's a tool that helps you generate the kind of lookup tables you need for converting usually like raw ADC readings into calibrated real values. I don't know, like battery charge and stuff like that, or temperature, etc. You have your data sheet that shows you what is the typical like calibration curve, and you need to turn that into efficient code that you can put into your embedded firmware. So yeah, the tool helps with that. It looks really cool.
Yeah, it's really nice. Like first when I saw it, I was like, is it like a module for this? But no, it's actually, it seems cool. You can have different type of interpolation, linear, spline, polynomial. I don't even know what this stuff is. But I mean, like, sure, this is something that you, like, if you have to interact with the real world, you probably have to do, and you want to do it right? Like if I was to do something like that, I would just interpolate everything.
And it's all integrated into the integrated in the Zephyr build system. So basically the header files that are going to contain the lookup tables, they are generated on the fly based on some like YAML description of them.
Yeah, you put the samples and the configuration, and you get your code.
Yep, pretty smooth, pun intended. All right. Yeah, we might have a bunch of other news later on with like interesting new drivers and boards. But yeah, again, this week, the main segment, and I think we plugged that last week, is the Zephyr Turns 10, the Zephyr 10-year anniversary report that just went out this week. So something that, we basically surveyed the community a few months back. The community, the Zephyr, or I should say the embedded product makers community at large. And so in partnership with the Linux Foundation research team and Intel, like we got like hundreds of responses. And yeah, with questions aimed basically at understanding the evolution and the adoption of Zephyr over time. Like what are the things that improved, or the other way around over the past many years, some of the challenges ahead. So there's like, before we dive into some of the findings, but I encourage folks to actually check out the report because it's a really nice reading. What I personally really like with this survey is that it's like you actually learn things. Like I don't really like those surveys where you end up, you don't learn anything. You're just like, oh yeah, we knew that already. Okay, sure. Sometimes it's a good way to comfort yourself, and you're like, oh yeah, cool. People seem mostly happy. Here we learn things that we didn't realize, and that's what we're gonna talk about today, right, Fabio? Things like, I mean, I was surprised by some of the findings. So,
I think
how about you?
I think we're going to try and focus a bit on the lowlights more than the highlights. Like if you were to just, it'd be tempting to just take the result and go like, oh, we're awesome. Let's just look at the positive. But I think we want to look at some interesting stuff. So should we start picking up some graph? And by the way, like I should probably check the proper report, which is written by proper data scientist or something. But we'll give it a different twist, shall we?
Yeah. Well, so I'll start. One of the things that I really was surprised to see, like big time, is to the question: which programming languages does your organization primarily use for Zephyr-based development? Number one is, drumroll, C, right? Sure, 96%. Yeah. Like, I'm not surprised about this one. And then the second most popular language is C++, which, sure, that's expected, but comes in at 30%. So that's really a lot of, like, I was surprised. And so I'm guessing this is folks who develop drivers and or applications. But I was surprised to not see more actually requests maybe from people trying to upstream those kind of like downstream development. But that's a lot. 30% is really a lot.
It's a lot, but you see it in the wild, right? If you look at random embedded projects you find on GitHub, you see C++. A fair bit. 30% I think is fair. What I am surprised is what comes below C++. Because on 11% we have Python, like
Python / MicroPython. Yeah.
MicroPython on embedded. Like, I understand people are using it, but I would consider it more of a educational language.
Yeah, or well, I guess, and this is where I mean, the question is, which programming languages does your organization primarily use for Zephyr-based development? It doesn't need to ship into the product. Like, I mean, if you use Zephyr today, you actually use Python to do some like to generate some of the code, etc. So maybe that's what some people.
Maybe it was a bit misunderstood. But then close to Python we have Rust, which is at 10%, and based on the feedback we got, I think. But I think based on the feedback we got, I was expecting it to be at around 115%. But that's okay, I guess. It'll grow. And then under Rust, still on the 10% ballpark, we have assembly. I don't understand. Like, okay, primarily assembly, and then you have an RTOS. I'm confused. Let's move on.
Yep, and Lua actually shows up on the map. Interestingly, at least a handful of people mentioned Lua, which by the way reminds me, I would love to have some as part of all those external modules in Zephyr, having a proper sort of like official go-to solution for people to add a Lua VM to their Zephyr runtime would be great. There's a bunch of GitHub projects out there that do it. So, yep. All right, you pick the next question.
So we have which factor are most important when selecting an RTOS? I think it's called like on the straight up documentation and learning curve and maturity and stability of the code base. Geez, it's always hard to strike a balance between staying up to date, right, having new stuff, and keeping the code stable. And the documentation is another thing that comes up in many situations. But then on the not important, I think it's also interesting. Like, people don't seem to care about commercial support option, which maybe is because there's good documentation. People don't need commercial support. Like legacy code base compatibility, I'm not entirely sure how to interpret that, but people don't care about legacy code or something. Why is ease of use learning curve low? Because in everywhere else, ease of use is like one of the important things. Here, it's pretty much at the bottom of the chain.
Yeah, so I think we should let people make their own read on it, because the way I read this one is that it's somewhat important. People are not saying it's not important. It's like it's somewhat important. It's like don't have an opinion, maybe sort of answer for some of those. But yes, certainly, like, I mean, documentation, maturity, ecosystem are like really high on the list. And I think Zephyr is not doing too bad in that regard. So
yeah. All right, let's jump to the next one.
Yeah, well, one thing that was interesting to see is sort of the split. We very intentionally asked people to sort of disclose and tell us where they are from, which continent, or like which geography: Europe, APAC, US, and Canada. And yeah, we see some differences there in terms of like maturity. Certainly in Europe and the US, Zephyr is already shipping in many products, slightly less in APAC, and there's also kind of a similar differences to the question, how has Zephyr impacted product and firmware development in your organization? Interestingly, it's kind of like almost the opposite. Like people in APAC, although they seem to be shipping maybe less products with Zephyr, they are more like positive about how Zephyr has impacted their development. So yeah, that's
there's a 3% in the United States and Canada that is like significantly worsened.
Yeah, those are always, and I think
somewhat,
I don't
actually.
remember. Yeah, I think at some point I was trying to look at some of the comments people made, like the verbatim comments they put in the survey. You always have like a few people who take the survey just so they can vent on whatever bad experience they might have had with whatever is the topic of the survey. So
yeah, there's also a decent percent in every region that responded like, do you currently use or plan to use it? Like, no, we don't. We have no plan to use it. Like, yeah, okay. Why
we still take the survey.
Why are you doing the survey?
Yeah.
Should you do, in your opinion, what are the biggest impact of using Zephyr? Hardware portability, tops up.
Yes.
It is one strong point. But also community and ecosystem support. I guess people care. Right.
Yeah, totally. So like, yeah, this one I guess was pretty non-controversial or not necessarily surprising, but yeah, all the big strength, like no vendor lock-in, scalable architecture, etc. Yep.
Yeah, there's a line on security posture for embedded IoT, which was surprisingly low. I would have expected more people to be interested in this stuff. Like if you think that the project, like the Twitter handle is Zephyr IoT, right? But I guess it's more of a general purpose these days, and people are maybe not that invested into that. I mean, people that do IoT and connect the device obviously care, but probably a lot of devices are not really online. So
yeah. You might still need security and or safety features, but maybe not that. Not as critical. Like, yeah, if not connected, right, it's a lesser problem. So moving on to maybe the most interesting one, how have the following characteristics of the Zephyr project changed over time? So things that improved, things that possibly have worsened. So I think people generally agree that overall the community has made some really good progress. Documentation on how to contribute, level of active contribution, engagement, those are all things that basically improved. Something that
give me the worsened.
Yeah, worsened. There's one. So we're still talking about like 12% of the respondents said this category as worsened, but yeah, technical complexity of the code. I don't like 12% is still reasonably low. It's not like, but I guess it would be nice if we would be able to score more like the complexity as improved or as like better.
Some of that is inevitable with the project, right? I think this is one of the growing pain. And on the other graph, the other one that stands out from the worsened point of view are learning curve. and ease of use and setup. I'm honestly a bit surprised by that, to be totally honest, because so from the setup and ease of use, we have more and more documentation. We have the GitHub action that shows you how to do it in a CI system, and learning curve. There's a lot of companies that do training and that sort of stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I think this stuff is improving over time, but yeah.
Yeah, we would need to. And by the way, there's so like we are doing our best to talk to the numbers by voice in the podcast. But yeah, please do check out the reports, the written report, not only the charts, but all the write-up that accompanies it. And there were also some interviews that were conducted with industry experts, so they have a few things to say there. Yeah, the learning curve, you're right, like it's 20% of the respondents said it worsened. It's actually like even...
Yeah, vast majority is not changed though. So it's like it's bad, but it's always been bad.
Yeah. Well, and especially like when you're asked about how did the learning curve changed over time, like it's hard to answer, because you're like, if you're answering about your past self, you're like, yeah, okay, when I, like 2 years ago when I started, it was hard or whatever, but today, like, you're not a beginner anymore. So it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's hard to answer. But clearly, out of all the questions or like all the categories, the learning curve, it's clearly the thing that seems to have worsened. So there's a lesson there, and we should we should like keep paying attention to all those reports we get from beginners on GitHub or on Discord, etc. There's probably some lessons for us and some areas for improvement for sure.
Right, and also for us, what are the biggest challenges facing Zephyr in the next few years? Straight on the top, maintenance and long-term support. Like we're both very involved with the project on the maintenance front, and yeah, I totally agree with that. So that stands on the top. Safety certification, I don't know much about it, but yeah, and after that, onboarding and documentation, so we kind of know.
Yeah, and I think we will I think the next question echoes this one too. For the maintenance and long-term support, I think part of the reason people are concerned or see this as a challenge is that the project being an open source project, it's kind of hard to predict the future, or at least some people don't necessarily realize that we have like an entire like governance process in place, and like we have like member companies, etc., that actually commit resources and money, etc., to make sure that we have a future and we have long-term support, etc. But I think for some people who said that this is a challenge, maybe it might be because they don't necessarily realize that we have the structure in place.
There's another interesting line in that graph though on competition from other RTOS, which is very low, and it's interesting, but it's interesting that there's no real competitor at this scale, right? Something that has the level of engagement with vendors and subsystems and stuff.
And unfortunately, we didn't do the same survey with the same questions like a couple of years ago. But had it been the case, competition from other RTOS was probably a different story at the time, right? Like Embed and FreeRTOS, etc. They were still are to some extent competition,
of course. But
and like I said, kind of related to the maintenance long-term support topic. There was another question asking people, what are the main reasons why your organization does not contribute to Zephyr? For those folks who said that their organization doesn't contribute. And a clear winner here is the lack of developer time and resources. And that's, I think, especially for small-ish companies, or even like for companies that are effectively like one-person show, consultants, etc., like they have enough bandwidth to make use of Zephyr and create great things with it. The overhead that may be and like the extra resources that might be needed to do proper upstream contributions. Sometimes people just don't have the resources. I don't think I would blame them. That's just the way it is. Like you don't always.
Right.
That's not necessarily the priority.
And the second one is pretty much the same, lack of expertise in contributing to open source project. I don't really buy it. It's more like lack of time to learn how to do it, because it's not that hard, but it's something that you need to learn.
Chicken and egg. Like you have this, you feel like it's going to cost you time, etc. And so you don't take the time to learn what it would take and to maybe realize that it's, after all, maybe not that big of a deal to contribute. And so if you're listening to the podcast, ping us on Discord, ping the community. If you need help to contribute, don't know where to start, we have lots of people that can help you get your first pull requests out there.
Yeah, and I think the last one is also related. What are the most impactful challenges when you face a contribution? So you're contributing, what's the problem? And the top one is delay in feedback, acceptance, and code review. And it kind of still ties up to lack of developer time, right? It's true for people that are engaged as well, especially the maintainer. It's hard to find time, especially if you are in an area that gets a lot of pull requests. So we know it's a problem. I think the project needs more maintainers and more time from maintainer to keep functioning right. Second one is the steep learning curve. Again.
Well, because I mean, it's let's face it, it's super intimidating when you do a contribution. The first reaction from people who contribute is like, I need my thing to be good enough or perfect enough so that people will not laugh at me or will not tell me that I didn't read the freaking manual kind of stuff. And so the learning curve might not be all that steep, but people are again, it's kind of like chicken and egg. They're like, I don't know what I don't know. So if I'm not going to do a pull request unless I'm sure that I'm going to make it right. And
the fact that it's all public can be intimidating. I know it was for me for a while, not with Zephyr because I was already used to it, but still, the first time that one of my pull requests broke something and got rolled back, I was like, finally, I've made it. I don't have to be they know I don't know what I'm doing at this point. No fear. Yeah, good stuff. Any closing thought on the survey?
Say again?
Any closing thought on the survey?
Again, it's really a great read. So I would really encourage people to check it out. There's I thought we had put it in the notes, but like I was mentioning before, there's also a bunch of questions on the topic of the use of AI agents and LLMs, etc. in the project. So check that out too. But I think it's a great way to look in the mirror for Zephyr in particular, but just for the embedded industry in general. Because this thing we started with C++ and so on. I'm sure this is not only a Zephyr thing. If 30% of the people responded that we use Zephyr with C++, it's just that's just how it is in embedded in general. So that's interesting findings.
Thanks everyone that took the survey. It's interesting.
Next survey in 10 years.
Oh, jeez.
All right. So let us know your thoughts on Discord, etc. As always. And let's close maybe with a bunch of hardware news, some new drivers, new boards that got merged this week, fresh off the press, a new GNSS driver for a GlobalTop PA6H GNSS module transceiver. Did you actually get the joke?
No, did I? Should I? Was there a joke?
So, Bjarki or Honk, if you're listening to this episode, apparently there is some kind of pun in the name of the company or something. I just didn't get. I don't know if you saw the comment that Bjarki put at the end of the PR.
I'm looking at it now, and I
have no idea.
I'm scared of reading it.
I don't get it. But nevertheless, that's it's great to have support for new
new GPS module. This is one of this is a modern one. I think it's using the MediaTek 3339, and it's one of those modules with the integrated antenna and everything. So you don't have to do any RF magic. You can pop it on a board and it works.
Yep. Yeah. And there's apparently a breakout board from Adafruit that has the module. So yeah, no, great stuff. And like I often say, new drivers are also an opportunity for people to, the more, usually at least, the more recent the driver, the more likely it is that it's going to be a really good example for people interested in learning how those drivers are effectively written. Like if you want to understand more about how the modem subsystem works and how to parse AT commands, or in this case, NMEA frames, etc. Like this is basically the new kid on the block. Just got reviewed, approved, merged. So that's kind of like state of the art, I would say, in a sense. So that's that's for GNSS. And then color e-ink display, a 6-color e-ink display.
This is funny. 6 colors. What a weird number. So apparently Fabian had to add a private pixel format private for this thing, like a definition.
Yeah, because it's not like it's not RGB, like it's not
it's something
8-bit, it's not 24-bit, it's something else.
Black, white, green, blue, red, yellow, orange. All right, cool, interesting. I'm surprised that you managed to fit this in the API.
The board is coming. I think Fabian is contributing the board shortly.
Yeah, good stuff. So I guess if you need an e-ink for 6-color, I tried to look up the part number, and it was all those price tag that uses the ink display.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the picture had a ton of colors, so clearly they were made up. Anyway.
Yes. Yeah. I see. We have a new first board from Qualcomm. So it just got merged. I think the PR had been there for quite a bit, but finally got merged. The QCC744M evaluation kit. So It's like super connected MCU, right? It's like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, 15.4.
Yeah, so this is a bit confusing because it uses an MCU from Buffalo Lab, but there is a module from Qualcomm. So what's going on, I think, is that this is using a tri-radio chipset from Qualcomm, which does Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth, and 802.15.4 Zigbee. And I guess this is just a radio module, and the main chip is a Buffalo Lab. But yeah, anyway, new board from Qualcomm. It looks like more of a small dev kit rather than something to be integrated on a product. Like it's one of those boards with the castellated edges, so you would think you would put it on a product, but it has a ton of debug headers. Wondering if you can buy it, but I haven't looked it up. Yeah, anyway, first board from Qualcomm. Qualcomm seems to be more and more involved in the project. Good to see.
Yes, that seems pretty clear. Although I think that the pull request was from the community, but still, got reviewed, approved by Qualcomm. A new XIAO from Seed Studio. It feels like there's one every other week, but a Pico 2, effectively, an RP2350. I guess that's it. That's your news. Same form factor as all the other XIAOs. And given we have pretty good support for the RP2350, it should just work, right? Like the 2 cores. Yep.
Nice module. Like dense. I wonder how much they regret going for this format, because it's very, very small, and they keep packing more and more stuff into it.
I don't know if they regret it, because like it off the top of my head, they've been like, there's Nordic, ESP, Renesas, Scilabs. They've managed to do one for pretty much every.
So I'm looking at the board, and the shield, they have a shield because they pass this thing through compliance and everything. The shield has a weird shape, so they have to do it custom, and it has a button for reset and bootloader, and they are tiny. They're absolutely microscopic, and they even managed to put an RGB LEDs. I like this stuff. It's good.
Yes. And then there's an NXP new Freedom board, IMX.
Yeah, this is the 1186. I've put this on the list because every time I see more than one Ethernet interface, I'm like, oh my God, I like this. Yeah, so this is one of the NXP board. And what's notable about this one is that it has 2 Ethernet ports using different connector for some reason I don't understand. But anyway, this is meant to support EtherCAT, which does require 2 ports. So it has either, I think it has a single Ethernet MAC, I suspect, but there is an internal switch. So you can have 2 ports, and if you're doing a product where you need to physically daisy chain the devices, this is a way of doing it.
Nice. Cool. So I think that's pretty much it for this week. Next week is going to be Embedded World. So I know and hope several of you listening will be there. Yeah, feel free to drop by the Zephyr booth, or we will have also a track in the main conference with quite a bit of Zephyr talks. So this will be, I hope we will find a time to record next week's episode, Fabio, but we'll figure it out. Yes. And also a quick shout out in terms of events about the Open Hardware Summit that's coming up. I think it's in May or something. I need to double check. Yeah, it's in May in Berlin. We will put a link to the conference. It's I think some of you might find it interesting. I heard they are still looking for sponsors, so that's also something. I mean, I wanted to give a shout out to that. But yeah, the Open Hardware Association, they usually do like really cool events. So check it out if you're in the area. And with that, this is for your weekly update about Zephyr. Join us on Discord. Give us some ratings and feedback on the various platforms, and we will be back next week. Bye.
Bye.